Get the check.in system and become a billionaire from then on. Chu He said, stop pretending, let's have a showdown. Actually, I'm a billionaire. Keywords of the novel. Shenhao starts from the check.in system with no pop-ups. Shenhao starts from the check.in system with full download of TXT. Shenhao starts from the check.in system with the latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Rainy Night. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Rainy night. Due in the evening, the streets are bustling with people, and this bustling big city is about to enter nightlife. It has been 5 years since Chu He arrived in this bustling city. Unlike many drifters, today he has things he thinks are more important than work. Yenner, marry me. Chu He knelt down on one knee, holding a bouquet of roses in his hand, and said to a beautifully dressed woman, instantly attracting the attention of pedestrians on the street. Who wants to marry you? We don't even have a ring when we propose. It's been 5 years and we're no longer children. Can you be more realistic, Chu He? The woman knocked off the flower in Chu He's hand and sneered. Today I arranged to break up with you officially. After all, some words on the phone are too perfunctory. It's been 5 years since we graduated from high school and came to Magic City. I couldn't have a better life with you, so I had a better choice. At the end of the street came the roar of a sports car, and a sky-blue sports car came to Chu River in a blink of an eye. It shook its tail and parked 2 meters away from Chu River. This car is recognized by Chu He, and the Porsche 911 is well known to many people. The top-of-the-line configuration costs around 2.5 million yuan. Why talk so much to him? Even if he struggles for another 10 years, he can't even afford a house in the demon. How could he possibly bring you happiness? A middle-aged man in a suit walked down from the driver's seat of the sports car and said to the woman. It seems like it's going to rain. I've booked a spot at the Mushong restaurant, let's go. The woman turned her head and glanced at Chu He, without saying anything, and followed the middle-aged man to the passenger seat. Tie your seatbelts and we'll leave. The supercar circled around the Chu River and then headed towards the end of the street. Chu He seemed to see the middle-aged man extend his hand out of the car window and give him a middle finger, then place his right hand on the woman's thigh. The supercar let out a louder roar as it ran down the street, and then disappeared into the darkness. The sky did indeed start pouring rain, and the rain hit the Chu River, but he suddenly didn't realize it. The fallen roses struggled in the rain, and the bean-sized raindrops knocked down their petals bit by bit. The woman's name is Chen Yan, and she has been sitting with Chu He since high school. On the eve of the college entrance examination, Chu He finally couldn't help but confess to Chen Yan, and the girl who was just starting to fall in love couldn't resist this temptation. Chu He still remembers Chen Yan taking the paper ring he had personally folded and saying to him, for the rest of his life, please give me more guidance. Chen Yan eventually got into Jiaodong University, and Chu He gave up the opportunity to go to Peking University and instead came to the bustling city of Magic City to rely on Chen Yan. For 5 years, Chu He constantly thought about how to give Chen Yan a better life, but neglected his courses in college. At the end of each month, with a salary of 3,000 yuan, I can't even buy a bag that I like for Chen Yan, and I have to save up. A boy with ambition can satisfy most of a girl's fantasies, but cannot satisfy her desires. The rain has stopped. The dark clouds in the night sky gradually dissipated, and a bright moonlight passed through the clouds and scattered on the Chu River. Chu He took out a domestically produced divine machine that he bought for 1,000 yuan and flipped through the end of his contact list to make a phone call. Fatty guy, come out and accompany me for a while at the Magic City bar. See you at the usual place. Chu River turned around and plunged into the pitch-black alley. The street vendors were shouting recklessly, and no one could have imagined that there would be such a bustling street next to the legendary Jiaodong University. Places where only a few vehicles pass by on weekdays were bustling, and students and office workers enjoyed the tranquility and noise of the night on this street. Chu He came to a bustling barbecue stall and sat down. Oh, here comes the little river. Uncle, how's business lately? Chu He smiled at the middle-aged man. It's still like that. I haven't seen you for half a year now. What would you like to eat today? Let's talk later, I'll wait for the fat guy to come. Half an hour later at the end of the street came another sound that made Chu He feel extremely ungrateful. Brother He, I'm Hu Han San back again. A chubby man with a height of 1.65 meters and a weight of 200 pounds walked quickly towards the barbecue stall, and the ground trembled as the chubby man moved. Come on. Do you still know how to come? Chu He raised his hand and slapped the fat man on the head. Take a look at your phone. How many hours have passed? Damn it, brother, he can't blame me for this. If you only talk about the old place, then the school restroom is also called the old place. The fat man raised his hand and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Upon hearing this, Chu He laughed angrily and said, Do you think if I were to talk to you about old times, I would go to the restroom? What activities are there? The chubby man pursed his lips, pondered for a moment, and tentatively asked Chu He, Go to the restroom to eat Lao Ba's secret small hamburger. Chu River slapped again. Eat your sister. The chubby man's name is Chen, and he is the youngest son of Chu He. He has been a good brother since childhood, and Chu He has called him the chubby man since childhood. Uncle, 70 skewers of lamb skewers, 10 skewers of leeks, 10 skewers of lamb kidneys, and 10 skewers of golden needle mushrooms. The fat man casually took a small horseshoe and sat down, turning his head to the owner of the barbecue stall. Looking back at Chu He's wet clothes, he hesitated for a moment before shouting, 2 more bottles of wine, white. Okay, sit down for now, it'll be fine later. The boss turned around and picked up the skewers, delivering them to the next table, and responded loudly. 2 bottles of baijiu were quickly served. The fat man raised his hand and poured a full cup for Chu River. What's the reason for coming out to me today? Can't I come to you if it's okay? Of course it's possible. You're not someone who always visits the Three Treasures Hall. The chubby guy did feel a bit strange. Chu He and he haven't been together a few times since graduating from college. It's the first time they've called him out so suddenly today, and he didn't hide his doubts and asked directly, We haven't been together for a while now. It shouldn't be okay if we suddenly come out today. Chu He sighed and said, I broke up with Chen Yen. The chubby man was momentarily stunned upon hearing this, as if he had never expected such a hidden situation when Chu He called him out today. I noticed in high school that woman Chen Yen doesn't seem like a good person. The chubby man paused and raised his glass. Here, brother He, I toast you and congratulate you on returning to being single. Bang, the 2 glasses collided and made a clear sound. Chu He drank all the baijiu in the glass at one gulp. The fat man hesitated and drank all of it. The chubby man raised his eyebrows and said to Chu He, Why do the women divide with you? Chu He slammed the cup heavily onto the table and said with a hint of helplessness, She told me I couldn't give her the life she wanted. Today, she ran away with their department manager. The fat man was furious when he heard this and said, I'll just say this woman's character is not good. After your 5-year relationship, she said she would leave. Come on, there's no right or wrong with emotions. If she wants to pursue a better life, I wish her happiness. At this moment, the barbecue stall owner turned around and placed the plate on the table, saying, Lamb skewers, chives, kidney, and golden needle mushrooms are all alive. Tell uncle what you need. Okay uncle, we don't need it for now. The chubby man felt a bit absent-minded when he heard Chu He's words and waved his hand to signal the boss to go ahead and get busy. Alright, let's not say that. I called you over today to get me drunk and relieve 1,000 worries. Chu He poured another glass of wine for the fat man and raised his glass to signal that he had done it again. Okay. Today, my brothers are willing to sacrifice their lives to accompany the gentleman. Cheers to us, the two most infatuated men in the world. Cheers to the most heartless woman in the world. Brother He, your alcohol tolerance is not good. I remember when you were in school, your alcohol tolerance wasn't that bad, you vomited. The fat man walked unsteadily on the street, pointing to the Chu River and saying, "Why don't you just step on your horse and fart? It's okay to be drunk like this and say I can't do it. Can you have some AC count?" Chu He kicked the fat man's butt sideways and fell down on the street. "Come on, brother He, I'll help you up. You go die, I'm going to be crushed by you." Two young people helped each other and disappeared at the end of the street. I haven't seen anyone, but I can still hear the two of them singing out of tune. Life is like a ruthless knife, changing our appearance. Will it wither before it blooms? We still have dreams. The sky turned white again. End of this chapter, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Check-in system. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Check-in system. It was already dawn when Chu He returned to the rental house. He had agreed to have the fat man take him home, but in the end, he went to great lengths to drag the fat man to a hotel and open a room for him. Just as I was about to take out the key and open the door, a loud voice came from upstairs. "The little river is back." Chu He knew without looking back that this was landlord Lao Su. He was already in his 50s and liked to read martial arts novels, characterized by his loud voice. "Lao Su, did you wake up so early?" As people get older and sleep less, they like to run, exercise when they have nothing to do. Lao Su paused for a moment. "I can almost pay the rent for this month." "Xiaohe, remember to pay it on time." "Old Su, you also need to understand me. I really don't have any money recently." Chu He was telling the truth. Earlier this month, Chen Yan used the excuse of buying a bag to take all his savings. Seeing that Lao Su was a bit anxious, Chu He quickly said, "I will give you my complete collection of Jin Lao later. At most, I will pay the rent within a week." Old Su hesitated for a moment and said, "Okay, I'll give you the complete collection of Jin Lao first." Lao Su didn't speak anymore, turned around and ran towards the outside of the building. Chu River finally breathed a sigh of relief. He can really be called penniless now. If Lao Su insists on pestering him to pay the rent today, he may not even have enough money to eat tomorrow. The key twisted and opened the door, but as I was about to enter, I stumbled over the threshold. Chu He felt the sky spinning and the earth spinning, his head slamming heavily on the floor, his eyes turning black, and he fainted. Complete the book. Binding host detected that the host is in a coma state, automatically binding 1% 30%. 99% binding successful. When Chu He woke up, it was already 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and as soon as he regained consciousness, Chu He was suddenly startled. Something's wrong. When he fainted, he was lying on the floor with the door open. And he remembered that his head had already been smashed, and a large puddle of blood was flowing on the floor. But now he is lying on the sofa, the door is closed, and there is no blood visible on the floor. Is what happened yesterday just a dream? Just as I was about to get up, a mechanical sound that couldn't distinguish gender came out of my mind. No, this system couldn't bear to see the host lying on the ground with a broken head and blood flow, so it placed the host on the sofa and casually closed the door. Additionally, congratulations on becoming the 10,086th host of this system. Who's talking? I am the Shenhao check.in system, and I will assist you in becoming a super Shenhao in the future. I hope we can cooperate sincerely. Chu He seemed to have figured it out. He used to read some novels in his leisure time and also longed to become a revered god one day. I never imagined that one day I would also be able to access the system. A black and white panel suddenly appeared in front of Chu He. Name: Chu River. Gender: male. Age: 23. Identity: Project Department employee of Dingxing Real Estate Company, Limited. The system with only black and white 4-line characters appears high-end, atmospheric, and upscale. System, don't you introduce yourself? Chu He asked tentatively. This system is a divine sign-in system developed by Dr. Yi Haran from the M416 Nebula, with the aim of helping the host become a divine sign-in. How should I address you in the future? They are all our own brothers, so why bother seeing outside? Just call me System Master. Okay, the dog system. System. I stepped on the horse and lifted the table. You already have an idea. Why do you ask me? Okay, I won't interrupt. You can continue with the introduction. There are currently 3 activities in this system. Daily check.in, location check.in, and system tasks. Location check.in and system tasks only appear in special circumstances. Wait, you just said I'm the 10,086th host, so what's the situation with the first 10,085th host? Most of them are consumed by desire, and some are brainless when it comes to doing things. Chu He sat on the sofa and lit a cigarette, slowly saying, okay, I roughly understand. Do you want to receive the beginner gift package? Yes. Opening beginner gift pack. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a Lamborghini Veneno. Chu He's excited cigarette ash suddenly fell onto the sofa. Not many people may remember his English name, but he has a well-known name, Lamborghini Poison. How far have I traveled, how many oceans have I crossed to see you? At this moment, Chu He's phone suddenly rang, and he quickly took out the domestically produced divine machine that had accompanied him for 2 years from his pocket. Hello, is this Mr. Chu from Chu He? Yes, you are. I am Jason, the manager of Lamborghini headquarters. We and the Lamborghini Veneno you purchased are at your doorstep. Could you please come down and take over? Upon hearing this, Chu He immediately extinguished his cigarette and quickly opened the door to the phone, saying, okay, I'll go down now. Chu He didn't care about the headache caused by being drunk last night, so he took the key and walked downstairs. As expected, a truck was parked on the roadside and a wooden box was being carefully unloaded. A middle-aged man who appeared to be of mixed race between China and Europe bowed to Chu He and said, you must be Mr. Chu He. At your request, we have already brought your Lamborghini Veneno. Please accept it. Jason was very puzzled at the moment. He was the manager of the project department at the Italian headquarters, and the transportation of supercars was not under his jurisdiction. However, half a month ago, the chairman called him to the office and asked him to transport this Lamborghini to China, which was originally carefully maintained in the Lamborghini exhibition hall. Now it seems that the chairman is interested in his mixed-race identity between China and Europe. Jason looked at the young man in front of him without leaving a trace, dressed in ordinary clothes and looking a bit handsome, but his whole body was filled with the smell of drunkenness. It's completely impossible to see a successful person who can buy a Lamborghini. Chu He walked step by step to the wooden box, and the nearby unloading worker handed him a pry bar. Chu He inserted the pry bar into the gap of the wooden box, and with a fierce force from his arm, he pried off the side facing the front of the car. The rest was done by the workers. Soon, a high-end, stylish, and cool sports car appeared in front of Chu He. Jason handed the car key to Chu He and opened a black booklet, saying, let me introduce the basic information of this car. The Lamborghini Veneno is a super limited edition sports car released by Lamborghini on the company's 50th anniversary. This car is equipped with a 6.5-liter 12-cylinder engine, which can accelerate from 0 to 100 km per hour in just 2.8 seconds. The designed maximum speed is 354 km per hour. The license plate and a series of documents have been processed and will be sent to you by express delivery once completed. Jason closed the book and pointed to the car key in Chu He's hand, saying, don't you try to control this beast. Upon hearing this, Chu He was stunned. Looking at this supercar worth nearly 100 million yuan, with its silver-gray body, wide-shaped corner headlights, perfect tail wings, and scissor doors, the whole car was like a beast crawling on the ground while hunting prey. Chu He pressed the key in his hand. Buzz, this car, worth nearly 1 billion yuan, instantly started up with a sound like the low roar of a wild beast, and the scissor door on one side opened. Chu He sat in the driver's seat, his heart beating wildly. How could he possibly afford such a top-tier sports car before yesterday? Take a long breath. Chu He asked Jason, where is the throttle? Jason. Just like a regular car, remember to press the accelerator lightly, Jason said, holding his forehead. Chu He made an okay gesture, stepped on the accelerator, and the steel beast instantly started, disappearing at the end of the road in less than half a minute. Jason looked at the Chu River's car with great envy. As an employee of Lamborghini headquarters, he certainly has his own car, but it cannot be compared to the poison in Chu He. 10 minutes later, Chu He turned the steering wheel to the right, pressed the brake, and the car stopped 6 meters away from Jason and a group of workers. Is Mr. Chu He still satisfied with this car? Satisfied, very satisfied, thank you all for your hard work. No, serving customers is what we should do, Jason smiled at Chu He. Jason turned around and walked 10 meters away, then suddenly turned back. I almost forgot, Mr. Chu He. This is a 5 yuan voucher that comes with our Lamborghini. Using this voucher, you will pay 5 yuan less at any Lamborghini sales office. If that's okay, we'll leave first. Wishing you a happy life. Jason and a group of workers immediately disappeared on the street corner after getting on the truck. Only Chu River remained in place, unable to laugh or cry. I have all the poison, is that the 5 yuan I'm missing? What I'm missing is those few million. End of this chapter, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. Didi Drivers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Didi Drivers. After stopping the poison on the roadside, Chu He returned to the rental house and lay down. Just as he returned to the sofa, Chu He heard the familiar mechanical sound again. Publish task, please become a Didi driver as soon as possible and successfully pick up and drop off 10 guests, receiving a 5-star rating, Chu He. What are you really afraid of? Just now, Chu He considered that it would be difficult to refuel Lamborghini once with his current savings, not to mention the need for maintenance. System, can we do this task later? As soon as possible, okay, it's still as cold as ever. Chu He reluctantly brought himself a glass of water, drank it all in one gulp, and then changed into a new outfit and went out. Didi Company Branch Manager, I have something to report. A woman in OL knocked on the door of the manager's office. Please come in, let's talk about something. A middle-aged man with a big belly sat on a chair in the office, holding a cigar in his mouth, and the entire office was filled with smoke. It's like this, we received an application from a Didi company 10 minutes ago, and we have verified their identity information, but the car they registered for is Lamborghini poison. A hint of brilliance flashed in the small eyes of the middle-aged man. Then it was hidden again. Just approve directly, report your identity information and vehicle model to headquarters, and then elevate his account to priority. The middle-aged man took a sip of his cigar and exhaled a cigarette ring, saying, most likely it's just a wealthy second generation who wants to experience life. If he wants to play, we can satisfy him and let him play as soon as possible. Chu He watched as the application was approved and started the car, and the Lamborghini poison disappeared again on the street corner. Street side. A woman in revealing attire was waiting at the bus stop, occasionally casting disgusted glances at the man beside her. The roaring sound of supercar came from afar, and soon drove to the front of the station. The plainly dressed man got off the car and said to the woman, "Hello miss, did you call Didi Taxi?" The man is the Chu River that was lured by the system to open Didi, and this is his first business deal. The woman was obviously stunned for a moment, quickly glanced at her phone, and then her face contorted with an unnatural smirk. "That's right, it's Didi I called. Let's go." Chu He nodded and turned to open the car door, saying to the woman, "Please get in the car." The woman turned her head and glanced at the men, then stepped on her 10-centimeter high heels and walked towards the Lamborghini Poison in the Chu River. Chu He returned to the driver's seat and forcefully stepped on the accelerator, causing the supercar to emit an exciting roar. "Miss, you're going to the touring club, right?" As soon as the woman got on the bus, Chu He smelled the pungent perfume on her. Chu He was disgusted with the smell. "That's right, master. Are you driving this car out to run Didi?" "Yeah, my dad taught me to never forget my original intention when I was young. Isn't this a way to experience life?" Chu He turned his head and glanced at the woman in the co-pilot's seat, then casually replied. The woman's face instantly showed joy. In no time, the car drove to the front of the touring club. "Qinghui 17 yuan, thank you." The woman took out a red ticket and a business card from her bag and put them in Chu He's pants pocket. Then he pressed his lipstick lips against Chu He's ear and whispered softly. "Driver, this is my business card with my phone number and WeChat on it. Remember to add me when you go back." The woman opened the car door and walked towards the clubhouse. As she entered, she cast a seductive glance at Chu River. Chu River opened the car window and slowly drove away from the street. After a while, he took out the business card from his pants pocket. The black business card is adorned with gold borders, with the 4 big characters of the touring club written on the front and the woman's name, phone number, and WeChat ID on the back. Chu He chuckled lightly, shook his head, and threw the business card out of the window. At this moment, another good play is playing on the street. "Let's break up, Chen Zheng." "Why? Aren't we doing well? Today, I bought you the lipstick you wanted." "Lipstick, he." The woman responded with a mocking tone and turned to grab the man's arm beside her. "I only bought me an apple today for over 10,000 yuan. What is that lipstick you bought for 300 yuan worth? We've been together for so long, so you're the kind of person. Let's break up then." At this moment, a silver-gray sports car appeared at the end of the street, and in the blink of an eye, the car came to the side of the 3 people. "Brother, have you finally figured it out?" A man got off the sports car and said to the big boy named Chen Zheng. The man is Chu River, and the sports car is his Lamborghini Poison. Originally, Chu He only wanted to come to this street to eat something to reward himself after running 7 rounds, but he happened to see this seemingly familiar scene. So he took a detour from the alley and brought the poison here. Chu He paused for a moment and continued, "I've told you before that you should have gone back to inherit our father's property, but you're lucky. You even said you want to pursue your dreams and true love. Now you've figured it out." Chen Zheng was obviously stunned when he saw the unfamiliar man in front of him, but he quickly reacted and wiped away the tears on his face, saying, "Brother, I've figured it out. I want to go back and inherit the family business." Chu He cast a approving gaze at the big boy who seemed to have just graduated from college, turned around and walked towards the poison, saying, "Get in the car, let's go home." At this moment, the woman also reacted and quickly hugged the boy's arm, rubbing it hard and saying, "Darling, I'm just joking with you. I don't even know that man. I really like the lipstick you bought." The boy shook off the woman's hand with force, gave her a disgusted look, and walked towards the car. The supercar let out a heavy roar and quickly drove away. Truly confirmed that statement. "You used to ignore me, but now you can't climb up. Leave only the dull woman and the man beside her in place. Where will I send you?" Chu He turned his head and said to the big boy named Chen Zheng. "Brother, aren't we going home to inherit the family property?" Chen Zheng responded with a smirk. "Go, who will come home with you to inherit the family property?" Chu He continued as he looked at the big boy beside him. "I am a Didi driver, just tell me where you want to go." After listening to Chu He's words, Chen Zheng almost bit his tongue and said with an incredulous expression, "Brother, are you driving this car out to run Didi? Experience life, where should we go quickly? The red light is almost over." Chu He casually responded with that line, at least 5 of the 7 orders he ran asked such questions. Send me to Jiaodong University, Chen Jingchang said in a breath. Chu He was stunned for a moment. Are you from Jiaodong University? That's right, Chen Zheng replied casually. At this moment, Chu River didn't know what to say. It's really fate. At your age, you should call me senior. I'm at level 15, big brother. Who are you? Level 1 or 3. Don't call me big brother. I'm not that old yet, call me Chu He. Then I'll be 2 years younger than you, Chu He senior. Chen Zheng was also very happy when he met his alumni and greeted Chu He with a friendly smile. Alright, it's time. Chu He parked his car on the roadside and said to Chen Zheng. How much should I pay you, senior? Chen Zheng took out his wallet from his pocket and said to Chu He. You don't need to pay. Today, I'm making friends with you, and we're both friends and junior students. What's the point of taking money from you? Chu He looked at Chen Zheng with a smile and saw that this young junior had already spent almost all his money on that lipstick. Okay, then I'll leave first, senior. Please take it slow. Chen Zheng turned around and opened the car door, waving his hand towards Chu River and walking towards the school gate. Wait, junior. The senior has a message for you. There is no right or wrong in relationships. Only by learning to love oneself can one learn to love others. I have seen this from beginning to end today, so you should spend money to learn a lesson. As soon as the words fell, Chu River stepped on the gas pedal and the poison drove away from the school gate. The roar of the supercar attracted bursts of exclamation from the students. End of this chapter, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. Enhanced Serum. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Enhanced Serum, finally completed. Chu He took a deep breath and returned to the sofa of the rented house to continue with Guyu's paralysis. The black and white system panel displayed numbers that satisfied him. Task. Become a Didi driver and pick up and drop off 10 customers, completion rate. 10 out of 10, Chu River has been shuttling through the streets and alleys for several hours, finally finishing this task before evening. Indeed, there is no easy line in 360 lines, Chu He sighed again. Come on, I was originally planning to have the host pick up and drop off 50 people, but it wasn't until the host was still a beginner in this system that I gave up the idea. So I also want to thank you for your great compassion, Chu He frowned as he looked at the system panel. No need to thank you, this is what this system should do, cut, whether to receive task rewards yes. Let me see what good things can be developed. Chu He mustered up all his energy and stared closely at the system page. Opening task rewards, congratulations to the host for obtaining a booster serum. Chu He's pupils contract extremely as he watches the task reward. What does this fortified serum mean to the US team? The host can understand that taking serum can significantly improve various body data, but it is recommended that the host find a ventilated and quiet environment, preferably with a flowing water source, to take it. Upon hearing the system's words, Chu He smiled and said, that's not easy. Chu He got up and walked to the bathroom, opening the window and shower. Alright, let's start. Host confirmed. Of course I'm sure. A bottle of light blue reagent instantly appeared in Chu He's hand, but a small bottle the size of a palm occasionally flickered with light. Chu River opened the reagent and drank it all in one gulp. Well, I drank too fast and didn't taste anything. Half a minute later, is your serum genuine in the system? It won't be the kind you package for 9 yuan 9-pack mail at CC, right? Produced by the system, all of them are high-quality products, clearly priced, operated with integrity, returning 10 fake products without deceit, both young and old. The small vendors on the street shout like this. As soon as he finished speaking, Chu He felt piercing pain emanating from all over his body, causing him to sweat profusely. Chu He felt as if his body was being crushed, and every cell was being destroyed and reassembled. The pores of Chu River's body began to sprout black viscous liquid and dark red blood, and a foul smell filled the air. Do you play with me in the dog system? This is Chu He's last thought before he fell into a coma. Chu River was awakened by the sound of knocking outside the door. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Chu He shook his head hard before recalling everything before he fell into a coma. Dog system, we've only known each other in less than a day. I've made me faint twice, Chu He shouted in his mind as he climbed up and sat against the wall. This system is very clear to the host, and besides, you also said that the serum is similar to that of the American team. Do you Earthlings not pay attention to details when watching movies? It also hurts when the American team injects, right? Chu He was laughed at in anger, and it took him a while to hold back a sentence. You're ruthless. The host might as well take care of the one outside the door instead of worrying about it. He has been outside the door for 6 minutes and 30.2 seconds. Chu He suddenly remembered that someone was knocking outside the door. He stood up and casually took out a large piece of clothing from the wardrobe to put on. As soon as the door opened, an old man with a white shirt and big pants almost fell outside the door. Take a closer look at Chu River. Lao Su, why are you here? Is there anything I can do to help you? Are you okay to say that as soon as I returned from the park, the neighbor Xiao Wang came to me to cry and confide in me? They were working at the time, but you were so lucky. You almost scared them away with your crying and howling. Lao Su took a breath and continued, I've been knocking on your door for a long time without anyone paying attention to me. If you don't open the door again, I'll call the police and break in. Damn it, I've been practicing this Hedong lion roar skill lately. It's nothing serious. Can you help me apologize to Brother Wang later? Go ahead, then novels are just novels. No matter how good they are, you can't really practice them. Hey, by the way, Xiaohe, you seem to have become handsome. Chu He. Old Su, I warn you not to have any ulterior motives towards me. I am a very conservative man. Who steps on a horse and has different thoughts from you. While playing, to be honest, you have rented my house for 5 years at least. Can we still not be familiar with you? At first glance today, it seems that you have grown taller and become handsome again. Chu He was taken aback for a moment and then said to Lao Su, okay. I got it. I'll talk to you later. Wang Gu, remember to help me apologize, and I'll go and console myself later. Before Lao Su could reply, Chu He slammed the door shut. Chu He came to the bathroom and looked at the person in the mirror, saying, who is this handsome guy in the bedroom? Lao Su is not joking. Chu He, who was originally 1.75 meters tall, now looks over 1.8 meters tall. His skin is fair, delicate, rosy, and shiny. This is definitely a small white face. Did you do this for the system? This is the gain effect brought by Serum. Please explore more details on your own, truly deserving of being a system. This is not just a typical bull review. I'll give you a 5-star rating. Chu He gave himself a thumbs up in the mirror. The serum mainly strengthens the body according to the gameplay of Jiame Team. Chu He quickly took off his clothes, only to see that the small belly that had been caused by long-term socializing had disappeared and was replaced by 8 neatly arranged abdominal muscles. At this time, the various indicators of Chu River's body are significantly higher than those of normal people, and all muscles and organs of the body have been strengthened. The high and bulging muscles look full of explosive power, but they are not as exaggerated as those bodybuilders. I gave this figure 82 points, and the remaining 18 points were given to the system in the form of 666. It's not surprising that Chu He is so narcissistic. His figure is enough to captivate most women, and his abdominal muscles are the favorite of corrupt women. At this moment, Chu He stripped naked from head to toe and stood in the mirror admiring his figure and appearance, constantly changing his angles. Abnormal, a certain system is being slandered. After watching for a while, Chu He reluctantly left in front of the mirror. Chu He flipped over and lay on the bed, covering himself with the blanket. Are you in the dog system? Host in, help me turn off the light. Call Dad and I'll help you close it. I didn't expect you to have this special hobby in the system. Do you shout or not? The constant battle between heaven and man in Chu River's heart. After a while, Dad. The incandescent light turned off in response, and the room suddenly became pitch black. Good night, dog system. Good night, host. End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Daily Check-In. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Daily Check. In the sky turned a white fish belly. The whole city is once again plunged into noise and chaos, which is the peak time for work. Good morning, dog system. Host early. Do you want to start daily check.in? Go ahead. It's quite melancholic to think about the joy of opening treasure chests every day in the future. Daily check.in in progress. Congratulations to the host for receiving 5 million yuan in cash. Chu He stumbled and almost fell off the bed. After finally calming down, he said to the system, soft girl coins. Yes, Chu He took the laccoon from the top cabinet and lit it for himself. It has to be said that host, you need to maintain a good mentality. The next few 100 million will be small money for you. Now is not the time for excitement. Who's excited? You're just flipping over and almost falling out of bed. My dad told me since childhood that our family has inherited high blood pressure, and now it seems to be true. The system detected that the host's heartbeat exceeded 130 beats per minute, and the host's whole body cells were in an excited state, but no genetic cardiovascular disease was found in the host. Dog system, do you know that there is an old saying in China called see through, don't say through. Watching the system stop speaking, Chu He nodded in satisfaction. At this time, Chu He's domestically produced divine machine also received a text message from the bank. Hello, your construction bank card ending in 1314 has successfully transferred 5 million yuan, and the current balance is 5,181.43 yuan. After reading the text message, Chu Heduan was overjoyed. 5 million yuan. Chu He rubbed his eyes vigorously. After confirming that it was 6 zeros, Chu River almost passed away on the spot. Chu He. Who can withstand a duck? Just about to put down my phone and calm down a wave of emotions. A system page suddenly appeared in front of me. Clock in task, go to Magic City Dingxing Real Estate Company for check.in. Chu He subconsciously felt that something was wrong. Dingxing Real Estate is exactly where he used to work. How could the system suddenly make him go somewhere? Chu He was about to ask when the phone rang instantly. Take a closer look, isn't this their department manager? Chu He subconsciously clicked to answer. A almost roaring voice came from the other end of the phone. Chu He, you have been absent from work for a day and a half. Do you still want to work? If you don't want to work, hurry up and pack up and get lost. Isn't this their department manager, Lao Lu? Chu He sneered. As a department manager, old Lu often squeezes them a lot. When I entered the company, I spoke very well. Rich salary, free rest time, and 5 insurances and 1 fund. A group of passionate young people who had just graduated from university were stunned and frightened. I only realized after entering the company that it was completely different. The salary is generous, which is 6,000 to 7,001 months. The freedom of rest time refers to the freedom to open a leave application, but whether to approve it or not is the responsibility of the leader, and the 5 insurances and 1 fund have not even been seen. Not to mention working hours, there is no even a 996 system, and Lao Lu directly created a 1966 system. As the name suggests, I start work at 6 a.m. and finish work at 6 p.m. every day. I work 6 days a week, which is 72 hours. Although there is not much difference in working hours compared to the 996 uniform, according to Lao Lu's words. Want to go to bed and wake up early. Thinking of this, Chu He turned to the phone and said, "Okay, labor and management won't work anymore." Lu Changqing on the other end of the phone clearly didn't expect Chu He to have such a big reaction. This kid is usually submissive to him in the company. After a while, gasping for breath, he replied. "Stop working. Alright, when you come to the company now, I'll pay you my salary and pack up and get out of here." After speaking, he didn't care about Chu River and hung up the phone. Chu He looked at the domestically produced divine machine displayed as hung up and thought to himself. I really thought the young master was easy to bully. Now that you're rich, who's going to do things for you? Chu He jumped out of bed and began to wash up. Urban area. At the entrance of Dingxing Real Estate Company, Limited. A silver-gray Lamborghini Poison appeared here. Park and show your identification. A security guard was about to come forward and stop him. The security captain next to him grabbed him and whispered, "You're not going to die anymore. That car is worth at least 90 million yuan. Can you afford to offend someone like this?" After speaking, the security captain went forward and opened the access control. A respectful bow was made. "Welcome to Dingxing Real Estate Company, Limited, sir." Chu He in the driver's seat nodded slightly. Then continued driving towards the inside. Dingxing Company. In front of the manager's office. Chu He walked forward and knocked on the door of the office. "Please come in." A thick voice came from the office. Chu River opened the door, and manager Lu Changqing sat in a chair, smoking an unknown cigar and puffing in the clouds. "Xiao Chu is here." When Lu Changqing saw Chu He enter the door, a kind smile immediately appeared on his face. "Xiao Chu, you need to think carefully before considering resigning. Finding a job in such a big city is not easy." As soon as he finished speaking, Chu He immediately raised his hand and interrupted him. "Manager Lu doesn't need to say much, I have already considered it." The smile on Lu Changqing's face immediately solidified. Instead, a cold feeling emerged. "Okay, since you've made a decision, I won't stop you." Lu Changqing took out a resignation application from the drawer and threw it in front of Chu He. "Fill out the application and sign it for me. Just go directly to the Human Resources Department to handle the procedures and receive my salary." Chu He didn't say much when he heard it. With a few swipes, I filled out the application and pushed the resignation application back to Lu Changqing. At this moment, Lu Changqing was very surprised. Chu He is usually considered an honest person, and he never dares to say much when assigning him work. After being absent from work for a day, I suddenly quit my job. Lu Changqing's index finger kept tapping on the wooden tabletop. 10 minutes later Chu He walked out of the manager's office and headed straight for the Human Resources Department. He saw all of Lu Changqing's thoughts in his eyes. What surprised Chu He was that Lu Changqing was originally quite kind to him, but his attitude changed instantly when he heard Chu He's decision to resign. Thinking of this, Chu He's eyebrows tightened together. After much thought, the Human Resources Department was already close at hand. Chu River scanned around. Suddenly discovered an unexpected person. "Brother Wang. Why are you here?" Chu River stepped forward and patted the person's shoulder. When the person turned around and saw Chu He, their eyebrows and eyes widened with a smile. "It's a small river," the person put down the document in his hand and stood up, facing Chu He. This unexpected person is Wang Jebi, a former colleague of Chu He. Wang Jebi and Chu He are colleagues, and they have the best relationship in the company. In their leisure time, they often have a small drink together. "Wang, how did you transfer to the Human Resources Department?" Chu He asked. "Harm, don't mention it. I have applied to my superiors several times before to change departments, as you know. It happened that you didn't come to work yesterday, and my superiors approved my application. Wang Jebi handed Chu He an apple and said slowly. Chu He did know about Wang Jebi's application to change departments, but the previous leadership had always rejected it on the grounds of a shortage of personnel in the project department. Wang Jebi roughly sorted out the documents on the table and asked, "Xiaohe, why didn't you come to the company yesterday?" "If something happened at home, I didn't come, nor did I have time to take a leave," Chu He replied vaguely. "Hand over the documents in your hand to Wang Jebi. I just resigned from Old Lu today, and you happen to be in the Human Resources Department. Can you help me approve it?" "Harm, these are all small things. Speaking of Xiaohe, if there is anything you need my help with at home, just speak up." Wang Jebi patted his chest, indicating that as long as Chu He spoke, he would never refuse. Chu He was also quite moved at this time. He worked at Dingxing for 5 years and joined this company after graduating from university. Comrade Wang was the only one who could be called a friend in the past 5 years. "It's nothing, I can solve it myself," Chu He patted old Wang's shoulder and said. Wang Jebi didn't say much after hearing this. "Wait for me here for a moment, I'll go and handle your resignation procedures." "Okay, thank you very much, Brother Wang. It's just my brother's words that make me stand out." After speaking, Wang Jebi walked towards the manager's office. After a while, Wang Jebi walked out of the office. "I've already processed everything for you. Here's your salary. Wang Gu will deliver a stack of banknotes to Chu River." "Thank you, Brother Wang." Chu He took the money and stuffed it into his pocket. "Let's go, I'll accompany you to pack up and see you off." Wang Jebi patted Chu He's shoulder. Chu River actually doesn't have much to tidy up. A few pens, a few books, a cup, and a pot of cacti. Chu He put it in a cardboard box. "Let's go, Brother Wang." In 2 minutes elevator lobby. "When I went to resign today, Old Lu's attitude towards me was fluctuating. Do you know why, Brother Wang?" Chu He casually asked while holding the cardboard box. "I know about this. Just a few hours after I resigned, the project department received a major planning proposal. Now is the time for a shortage of manpower. Wang Gu will insert his hands into his pocket. You say it's just a coincidence. As soon as I was transferred to the Human Resources Department, their project department became busy, and from then on, I can break free from Lao Lu's oppression." Upon hearing this, Chu River roughly understood what was going on. To put it simply, Lu Changqing still wants to keep him as a laborer, but he is not rare in Chu River now for that month's work of 3,500. Ding, the elevator door opened in response. The two walked to the front door. "Xiaohe, how did you come today? Do you want me to drive and see you off?" "Don't trouble Brother Wang, I came by car." Chu He released one hand and took out the car key from his pocket, pressing on the Lamborghini Poison next to him. The silver-gray Lamborghini Poison instantly activated, and the driver's scissor door immediately opened. Wang Jebi's eyes widened as he looked on the side. "Sleeping slot. I said, why did you suddenly resign? This is the rhythm of going home and inheriting billions of assets." Wang Jebi swallowed his saliva and walked to the front of the car, circling around the Poison. "I have heard of this car, starting at 90 million yuan, there are only 3 cars worldwide. Wang, if you like it, I'll borrow it from you." Chu He raised his lips and smiled slightly. "No, never, if you scrape it and hit me, I can't afford it. I'll just honestly drive my Santana," Wang Jebi said with a bitter smile. "So I'll leave first. I won't delay your work." Chu He put the cardboard box in the passenger seat and took out a bag of Yushi scattered items to give Wang Jebi one. "Okay, I won't see you off anymore, I'll keep in touch in the future." Wang Jebi made a phone gesture to Chu He. Chu He turned his head and looked at the company, feeling a little emotional. This is the place where Chu River has been working for 5 years. For 5 years, he worked in this small company in city every day, constantly rushing around just to earn more money. Harmful. Why do you think so much? Chu He stepped on the gas pedal. I am about to become the CEO, marry by Fume, and reach the pinnacle of my life. Think about it and feel a little excited. Lamborghini poison travels on unobstructed roads. System, claim rewards. Receiving rewards. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a luxury residential unit on the 28th floor of Building A, Grade 1, Tang Chen. End of this chapter, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Tang Chen's First Class. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Tang Chen's First Class. Ding ling ding ling. Chu River's phone rang again. Since the Chu River binding system, I have received more and more calls. Does the system support reimbursing phone bills? Roll, cut. If you don't reimburse, then don't reimburse. Can you stop being so irritable? It's not like I said the system. You need to change your temper. Anger can hurt your body so much. After speaking, Chu He picked up his phone and answered the call. Hello, I'm Chu He. Which one is there? A middle-aged man's voice came from the other end of the phone. Hello Mr. Chu He, I am Lu Yixiao, the sales manager of Tangchen EP1-10. You have just purchased our private apartment on the 28th floor of Building A. Do you have time to take over now? Chu He instinctively glanced at his watch. I will be at the west gate of your community in 10 minutes. Could you please come and pick me up? Okay sir. Chu He hung up the phone casually. 10 minutes later. Tang Chen's first-grade Shiman. Are you Mr. Chu He? As soon as Chu He got off the car, he saw a man in a suit walking quickly towards him. Quickly standing in front of Chu River, he solemnly extended his hand. That's right, I'm Chu He. Chu He extended his right hand and shook hands with him. I am Lu Yixiao, the sales manager of Tangchen EP1-10. This is my business card. Mr. Chu can call me if he has any questions in this community in the future. Lu Yixiao took out a business card from his wallet and handed it to Chu He, feeling a deep sigh of relief in his heart. This young man doesn't seem so difficult to get along with and is quite easy to talk to. As the sales manager of Tangchen EP1-10, Lu Yixiao has received high-ranking professionals from various industries since its opening in 2009. Celebrities, billionaires, and nouveau riche. Most of these people have strange temperaments, and even many have special hobbies. The young man in front of me is quite easygoing. Wearing simple and unadorned clothes, but with outstanding temperament. If it weren't for driving a Lamborghini over, it would have a hidden style in the city. Chu He casually put the business card in his pocket. Show me the house, Chu He said. Okay, Mr. Chu, please come this way. Lu Yixiao quickly stepped forward to lead the way. At this moment, Chu He and Lu Yixiao are both in the elevator. Both of them remained silent. In Chu River's heart, however, towering waves surged. Tangchen EP1-10 is truly one of the top-priced luxury homes in the country. Both luxury and housing design are not comparable to ordinary residential communities. At this moment, Chu River was facing the towering skyscrapers of Mo one after another. At this moment, Chu He had the illusion that the tall buildings outside the elevator were easily accessible to him. Lu Yixiao beside him slowly spoke up. As the top luxury mansion of the Magic City, Tangchen EP1-10 occupies the core area of Lujiazui and can be called the city center. On the other hand, those close to the first line of the Huangpu River face the old Bund directly, with New Shanghai on one side and Old Shanghai on the other. Ding! The elevator door slowly opens. Lu Yixiao took out the key and opened the door. The floor you purchased is relatively unique because the previously proposed redecoration plan changed the decoration style of 13 floors, including your floor. Your floor is purely minimalist in style. Lu Yixiao cleared his throat. You still need to personally take a look at the specific situation. Lu Yixiao signaled for the Chu River to enter. Please. As soon as Chu River entered the door, his small heart thumped. This house is really, it's perfect. Meets all the fantasies in his heart. Lu Yixiao stood quietly waiting on the side. After Chu He calmed down a bit, he slowly spoke up and said, I wonder if you're still satisfied with this house. Nonsense, of course satisfied. Chu He thought to himself. Of course, he couldn't possibly say that. Chu He smiled and said to Lu Yixiao, satisfied, very satisfied. Thank you, Manager Lu. Lu Yixiao smiled kindly upon seeing this. Immediately picked up a bag and handed it to Chu River. Here are the door cards and keys for each room of Tang Chen EP1, including instructions for using the Tang Chen EP1 smart home system. Please keep them safe. Chu He reached out and took the bag. Lu Yixiao then said, then I won't disturb Mr. Chu He's rest. I wish you a happy life. If you have any questions, you can call the number on my business card. I'm available 24 hours a day. Lu Yixiao turned around and walked out of the room, casually closing the door. Yo-ho, staring eagerly as Lu Yixiao closed the door, Chu He immediately threw himself onto the soft sofa and began to cry and howl. I can't blame Chu River either. How many people will find it difficult to buy a house in Magic City for a lifetime? He is good at Chu River, and from the beginning, he is the top executive of Tang Chen's first grade. Chu He got up from the sofa and walked towards the balcony. Chu He let out a long sigh. The tall buildings in front of me are scattered north of the Bund. Not far away is the famous magic pearl of both China and abroad. Chu River took a breath of the air by the river. Suddenly, there was a feeling of arrogance towards the demon capital. One day, this demon will have my place. We'll be here soon. The long-lost mechanical sound of the system reappeared in Chu He's mind. Chu He nodded irrefutably upon hearing the words. The wind today is very noisy. After a while Chu He slowly left the balcony. Pick up the things left by Lu Yixiao and casually take a look. It has to be said that Tang Chen's reputation as the top mansion in the first tier of magic is truly deserved. Not only is the decoration luxurious, but the service is also commendable. The clubhouse in the atrium of the 4 buildings contains almost all imaginable entertainment options. The gym, reading room, indoor swimming pool. Can be said to have everything. Chu He put the access card into his wallet, sat down on the sofa and crossed his legs, saying, Xiao Jiu, give me a cappuccino. After roughly flipping through the user manual just now, Chu He has gained a certain understanding of the intelligent system that has always been quite mysterious in the Tang Chen first class. Like intelligent constant temperature, it is relatively normal to be warm in winter and cool in summer. The only unique feature is that this intelligent system can recognize human voices and then operate some devices on its own. Just like Chu He did just now. The words have just finished. The coffee machine started running on its own. In no time, a steaming cup of cappuccino appeared at the bar. Chu He walked to the bar counter. Reaching out to pick up this cappuccino, he slowly handed it to his mouth and took a sip. It took a long time to slowly speak. Forgot to add sugar. Chu He's face showed an indescribable expression. Publish task. As a superhero, it is crucial to improve one's abilities. Please spend all your money in the coming time. Requirement. Spend at least 1.5 million yuan. I've noticed that I haven't rested properly since I bound you to the dog system, Chu He said, glancing at the task roughly. When you are poor, you can rest slowly. Chu River has a bitter heart. Okay, then spend your money. Chu River drank the cappuccino from his cup in one gulp. It took a while to recover. How to relieve worries, only shopping. Chu He picked up the car key from the coffee table and walked towards the door. End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Qianda Plaza. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Qianda Plaza. In 10 minutes Chu River drove Lamborghini Poison to the entrance of the community. The security guard in the community was leaning against the pillar smoking, enjoying the hard-won leisure, but his expression changed instantly when he saw Chu River. A supercar worth 90 million yuan. When will there be another wealthy person in the community who can afford a Lamborghini? The security guard quickly put on his hat and stood up to bow to Chu River. Sir, I wish you safe entry and exit. Immediately, the access control was opened for Chu River. Chu He slowly lowered the car window and nodded with a smile. Then he stepped on the accelerator and drove away from afar. Qianda Square is bustling with crowds of predecessors. Chu He just parked the car. My stomach suddenly started growling. He has not had dinner yet since he returned from Dingxing Company in the afternoon. Rolls, fried noodles, meat buns, iron plate squid. Chu He heard the shout and quickly walked over. Boss, I'll have a portion of fried noodles. How much is it? Chu He took out his phone and asked. 13, sir, please wait a moment. Add some chili, just medium spicy. Chu He paid with his phone and waited on the side. The fried noodles were quickly prepared. Chu He looked around with his steaming stir-fry, but didn't see any tables or chairs. I don't care about these things at the moment, so I squatted on the curb with fried noodles and started eating. On the other side of the road, a girl with long hair and waist length, holding a selfie stick with one hand and pointing at Chu River with the other, said to herself as if to herself. Look at Lao Tai, there is a little brother eating chow mein over there. Let's go and have a look. The girl walked quickly towards the Chu River. Hello sir, can I interview you? The girl said directly to Chu He. Chu He was puzzled when he heard the sound and looked up to see a pretty girl holding a selfie stick. Chestnut-colored long hair immediately scattered over the shoulders, wearing a simple white shirt and jeans. On her fair melon seed face, she has a pair of clear and bright deer eyes like lake water, with two curved willow leaf eyebrows resting on top of the deer eyes. Her small and delicate nose and rosy cherry mouth sit in sequence. For a moment, Chu River was lost in sight. I saw his mouth slightly open, with unfinished fried noodles in his mouth. No, we need to pay attention to our image. Chu He calmed down and immediately swallowed the fried noodles in his mouth. He wiped his mouth casually and asked calmly, pretending to be calm. What do you want to interview, little sister? The moment Chu He lifted his head, the girl was also stunned. Sword eyebrows and starry eyes, with a majestic appearance. The features of Chu River carry the delicacy of Eastern men and the three-dimensional sense of Western men. Little brother, my name is Yi Zairu and I am a streamer on Dosha platform. I am doing outdoor live streaming, but can I ask you a few questions? When Yi Zairu heard Chu He's magnetic voice, her heart beat faster and she was so excited that she couldn't even speak fluently. Chu He casually threw the finished fried noodles into the trash can. Standing up and wiping her mouth, she said to Yi Zairu, of course you can. With Chu He's agreement, the live broadcast room also boiled up. What a handsome little brother. I'm going to give him a monkey. Wake up upstairs, you're a man. Kneeling series, little brother, this voice makes me wet. Old witch. The old witch +1. The old witch +10086. The live broadcast room instantly tilted towards the building. Yi Zairu waved her hand excitedly as she watched Chu He agree. After calming down for a moment, he said to Chu River, could you please say hello to the water friends? Chu He smiled and nodded, as he approached the camera with his handsome face. Hello water friends, he waved his hand and said the atmosphere in the live broadcast room suddenly became lively. Hello little brother, you've worked hard, do you have a partner, little brother? Do you mind switching to a different partner? If you mind, would you consider having another partner? Watching a group of elderly leftover women snatching men like wolves in the live broadcast room. Yi Zairu coughed lightly twice and asked seriously. The first question, little brother, how much is your WeChat account? With this statement, the live broadcast room exploded again. I've taken off my pants, can you show me WeChat? Why are you taking off your pants upstairs? Dog woman, stop your pick-up behavior immediately. Put down my husband's WeChat account. Chu He was momentarily stunned at the words and took out a domestically produced magic machine from his pocket, giving the QR code to Yiziru. Yiziru also chuckled and took out another phone to add Chu River. At this moment, the live broadcast room is also crazily discussing. His phone is still the same model as 2 years ago. It was a domestically produced miracle machine back then. It seems that my husband is not very wealthy and handsome either. The thick rolling upstairs, I want it even if it's not wealthy and handsome. You need a hammer, this is my husband. A group of women in the live broadcast room started to tear and force again. Cough cough. Yiziru cleared her throat. She didn't notice Chu He's phone, nor did she have time to watch those barrage. Adjust the state and start the main topic. Excuse me, little brother, what's your name? Chu River. Height. 1.83 meters. Weight. 62 kilograms. Are you single? Chu He paused again and said, wait a minute. Are you sure you're not here to check your household registration? The live broadcast room also harshly criticized Yiziru. Dog woman, do you really think you're checking household registration? At least he's a great shark fighting anchor. Can you pay attention to his image, Ro? The anchor, I'll give you 500,000 and leave my husband. Sleeping slot rich woman. Rich woman, choose me, I live well. The rich woman chose me, I don't want to work hard anymore. This one. Yiziru was also embarrassed when she heard this and reached out to touch her nose. I also want the water friends in the live broadcast room to get to know you better. Dog woman, what's my business? Dog woman, what's going on upstairs? Dog woman, what's going on upstairs? As soon as Yiziru said this, the live broadcast room exploded. Yiziru looked a bit awkward at the situation and immediately straightened her attitude, asking, what do you do, Chu He? Run Didi. Chu He casually smiled and said. This way, Yiziru expressed some disappointment. At this moment, the live broadcast room was indeed peaceful. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what else do you want? The anchor, hurry up and leave my husband. Does the wealthy lady upstairs really not consider me anymore? Chu He smiled again when he saw the situation. Slowly took out Lamborghini's car key from his pocket. Press once. Lamborghini awakened like a beast in the darkness. The engine suddenly started with a buzzing sound. Chu He walked up to Lamborghini and took a photo of the front cover of the car. This is the car where I ran Didi, Chu He said to Yiziru. At this moment, Yiziru was already in chaos in the wind. Along with a group of water enthusiasts in the live broadcast room. After a while, the water friend in the live broadcast room finally came to his senses. Sleeping trough. Horizontal groove, a humble anchor meets a billionaire on his way. Fire tongs Lu Ming. Fire tongs Lu Ming +1. At this time, the popularity of the live broadcast room also skyrocketed, and soon surpassed 5 million. Yiziru is still messy in the wind. Chu He locked the car and walked over to Yiziru, patting her shoulder and saying. I wanted to come and buy something today, so if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Yiziru is still messy in the wind. Suddenly turning around and nodding to Chu River, he said, okay. That's not right. Encountering a divine hero is a great topic, and today's live broadcast content is right in front of us. Besides, the handsome guy who got it can't just fly like this. Yiziru shouted from behind, can I go with you? Upon hearing this, Chu He stopped and hesitated for a moment before nodding, sure. Chu He Shi Ti Xiaomi Mei has won. 5 minutes later. Chu He and Yiziru walked into Qianda Square. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. How to solve worries only through shopping. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 How to solve worries only through shopping. The first floor of Qianda Plaza. Yi Zairu tilted her head and asked Chu He, "What are we going to buy first?" Chu He reached out and touched his chin. "First, accompany me to buy some electronic products." Speaking, Chu He walked into the store, followed closely by Yi Zairu. Electronic digital store. Chu River swept around the door. I found that the brands are quite complete, and there are many mobile phone and computer brands that can be found in China. Help me get a Mate 30. Chu He walked straight to the H counter and said to the salesperson. The salesperson was instantly surprised to see Chu He's appearance. However, years of professional ethics quickly brought her back to her senses. She smiled at Chu He and then asked, "Do you have any requirements for the configuration and color, sir?" Chu He pondered for a moment and said to the salesperson, "King Shandai, 8G plus 256G is enough." "Okay," the salesperson replied with a professional smile. She walked to the safe beside her and blocked Chu River's view with her body. In a moment, take out a white box and give it to Chu River. Chu River is leaning against the counter. Take out the phone from the box. I casually weighed it and found it quite convenient. The body is very thin and has a lot of weight. Chu River has been accustomed to using H as a mobile phone for so many years, and now it can still be considered as supporting domestic production. Why not? Chu He put his phone back into the box and smiled at the salesperson, saying, "How much is it? Can I swipe my card?" As soon as this statement was made, the salesperson's face was immediately filled with smiles. "This phone costs 4,499 yuan and you can swipe your card," he said with a relieved smile. Chu He nodded. "Hand the card in hand to the salesperson. Pay the bill and head straight to the next store." Before Yi Zairu could understand what was going on, she saw Chu He walking towards the Apple counter. "Bring me an Apple 11, the color should be purple." Chu He paused for a moment and continued, "as well as tablets and laptops, with the best configuration." The salesperson at the counter lit up his eyes upon hearing this. Rich second generation. Full of performance. When Chu He is about to take out the things he wants and pack them, Chu He reached out and took the POS machine. Swipe the card to pay and leave in one go. Only the water enthusiasts in the live broadcast room were trembling. "In the future, this will be my big brother." "You fart, this is my big brother." "Hello big brother." "Big brother, do you still need pendants? Can we all have a bit of integrity? Actually, I can also be a little brother. If you say go east, I will never go west. I will go through fire and water with one command, and I will not hesitate." Cut. Chu River did not see these barrage. After paying the bill, he was attracted by a counter on the other side of the store. "What's going on?" Yi Zairu looked at the suddenly stopped Chu River and asked in confusion. Chu He ignored him. Quickly walked towards the counter. Yi Zairu followed the direction of the Chu River and looked at it, and her mouth suddenly grew larger. "Big brother, I can't afford to buy a few months' worth of salary, so that's why I have an idea." "Brother, this means you want to buy an alien to play with. These wealthy people are just playing around." The words upstairs seemed to imply something. "Just a weak question, aren't aliens just for fun?" "Not bad, the counter that Chu River is heading towards is exactly for aliens." Chu He used to enjoy playing games when he was in school and at work. Chu He is a loyal fan of major games such as Chicken Eating, LOL, and Warcraft. So he also has a good understanding of the star brand of aliens in the computer industry. The attraction of the name Alien to all gaming enthusiasts is undoubtedly explosive. The cool design, streamlined body, and small alien avatar undoubtedly represent alien computers. In recent years, Chu River has also seen many articles reporting on extraterrestrial beings. There are also reports of aliens building high-performance computers at no cost. This super brand in the gaming industry has been known for its highest performance, most personalized design, and best service since its establishment. Chu He waved to Yi Zairu. Upon seeing this, Yi Zairu immediately ran over. You, as an anchor, should be quite familiar with these computers. Chu He smiled and said to Yi Zairu. Yi Zairu nodded irrefutably. Chu He continued, help me choose one and follow your ideas. That's not possible, Yi Zairu quickly waved her hand. I'm just accompanying you to go shopping, asking me to pick things is not a big deal. Harmful. Chu He smiled and said, just think of it as helping me. Although I enjoy playing games, I don't really know much about this area. After hesitating for a moment, Yi Zairu nodded in agreement. Chu He took a step back and reached out his hand to signal for Yi Zairu to come forward and select. Yi Zairu turned around and asked Chu He, do you have any requirements for price and configuration? Chu He shrugged and said, the price doesn't matter, the configuration should be the best. Upon hearing these words, Yi Zairu was immediately speechless. It's hard to say whether a wealthy person like this is good or bad at the stall. A group of gaming enthusiasts in the live broadcast room are also speechless. The price doesn't matter, the configuration should be the best. My salary for a year is almost gone. I'm quite wealthy upstairs, but the phrase, Big Brother, has disappeared for 2 or 3 years. Seeing Big Brother's operation, I feel like I've lived on a dog for over 20 years. Perhaps I'm not human, but you're a real dog. Yi Zairu pondered for a moment and said to a middle-aged man playing with his phone at the counter, are the keyboard, mouse, and earphones the same as the one I bought? I'll give him the flagship version of the console and a 54.6-inch monitor. The middle-aged man gestured okay to Yi Zairu. Turn around and hand the paper and pen to Chu River. Just leave the shipping address and phone number. Chu He picked up a pen and wrote down the address and phone number of Tang Chinipin. Watching the two of them chuckle and say, do you two know each other? The middle-aged man and Yi Zairu exchanged a glance. Then he smiled and said, I'm the only one in charge of the Magic City franchise store. I'm the general manager, and these anchors need to purchase equipment for nothing. They get to know each other quickly. Yi Zairu smiled slightly and nodded. Although Brother Zhang sells computers, he also works part-time as a repairman. I often come to take care of his business. Chu He nodded as if he had suddenly realized. He stepped forward and shook hands with a man surnamed Zhang. Then I may need you to help me fix my computer in the future, Chu He said with a smile. The man surnamed Zhang smiled and said, it's easy to say, but when you're about to buy a computer, thinking about fixing it doesn't bode well. The man surnamed Zhang handed Chu He a business card and said, my name is Zhang Yuyao, and there is my phone number on it. You can contact me if you need it in the future. Chu He reached out to take the business card and casually put it into his pocket. Handed the bank card to Zhang Yuyao again and said, how much is it? Let's settle the bill. Zhang Yuyao smiled and took out a computer, tapping it a few times and said to Chu He, a total of 155,000. I'll take you 115000. Then he took a POS machine and handed it to Chu He. Chu He reached out and entered the password. You put on this 0 quite easily. If you were to switch to another house for 300 yuan, you wouldn't just casually put it on. Zhang Yuyao laughed heartily at the words. No one cares about that 300 yuan for a business worth 100,000 yuan, besides being acquaintances, Zhang Yuyao glanced at Yi Zairu and said. That's right. Chu He nodded with a smile on his face and said, so let's go first. Zhang Yuyao returned the bank card to Chu He and said, the goods will be delivered within 3 days, and we will contact you at that time. The mouse pad and other things are all delivered, and the system will be installed. Thank you, Chu He shook hands with Zhang Yuyao again. No trouble, walk slowly. Zhang Yuyao looked at Chu He and Yi Zairu, then waved his hand. Chu He and Yi Zairu immediately left. End of this chapter, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. How to solve worries only through shopping, 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 How to solve worries only through shopping, 2, the third floor of Qianda Plaza. You girls should be good at buying clothes, right? Chu He smiled and said to Yi Zairu. Yi Zairu tilted her head and thought for a moment, it's okay, isn't it? The live broadcast room started to stir up again. Just received my elder brother's baptism of throwing money and now I have to listen to you lying here. Is it easy for me? Is it okay? What does it mean to be okay? Is that okay with you? It was done by a person from the mortal world. Chu He looked at the barrage and was a bit confused. What do you mean, water friends? Aren't you an ordinary person who buys clothes? Yi Zairu's small face suddenly turned red. The water users in the live broadcast room continue to make noise. Big brother, let me tell you. Don't talk upstairs, let me talk. I have good communication skills. Let me speak upstairs, I have a comprehensive narrative. In 10 minutes, do you mean she often takes you shopping and spends the whole day there? Chu He asked. Right, big brother, your understanding is too good. Big brother, let me tell you this dog woman is not an ordinary beast. It starts broadcasting at 9 a.m. and ends around 10 p.m. Change thousands of clothes in a day and ask us if they look good. Who can withstand the duck? Chu He burst out laughing when he saw the answers from his water friends. You guys are also quite difficult. Chu He looked sympathetically at the barrage. So, do you have any recommendations for me to buy clothes now? Chu He asked Yi Zairu. I only buy women's clothing, I don't know much about men's clothing. Yi Zairu quickly waved her hand. Chu He nodded slightly. Then he looked at the barrage and said, you must have some ideas. A group of big men should often buy men's clothing. Big brother, we can't say that. We also buy women's clothing. I'll just cover my mouth upstairs. The villain died from talking too much. I seem to understand something, cute and new. Big brother, don't listen to them talk nonsense. When it comes to buying clothes, my suggestion is Armani and Versace, both of which are considered luxury brands and also in line with your positioning, big brother. You can buy belts, wallets, leather shoes, and some casual clothing. Chu He stared at the last barrage and pondered under his chin. Then let's have Armani. Chu He immediately made a decision. From the perspective of style, Chu He still prefers Armani. When he used to work, he also bought himself an Armani belt, but later he lost it. The two immediately headed straight to the Armani specialty store. Welcome to Armani's specialty store. As soon as Chu He entered the store, he heard sounds coming from both sides. He ignored it, just nodded with a smile and continued walking inside. There's no way to duck. My identity is different, so I need to pay attention to my image. The OL-dressed woman standing beside the counter walked briskly towards Chu River and Yi Zairu. Hello sir and madam, I am the manager of our store. May I ask what you two need? The manager smiled and said. Show me some casual wear first, Chu He said with a smile. Okay sir, this way, please. The store manager took Chu He and Yi Zairu aside. Then he took out a few pieces and handed them to Chu He to see. I personally think that your figure, sir, is very suitable for wearing casual suits, said the store manager, holding the clothes in his hand. Let me give it a try. Chu He took the clothes and said. Sir, the fitting room is over there, please. Chu He turned around and walked into the fitting room. After a while Chu He walked out of the fitting room. I saw Chu He wearing a black suit, with a white T-shirt that didn't look too tight and perfectly showcased Chu He's muscular lines. At the first sight of Chu River, the store manager and Yi Zairu widened their eyes. For a moment, Yi Zairu felt like she had seen a fake Chu River. Live broadcast room. I can only describe Big Brother's appearance as lying down. Helplessly, water friends have no culture, and one sentence goes lying in a trough to travel the world. I can't watch anymore, I'll be bent. My husband is truly my husband, he loves me so much. People rely on clothing, horses rely on saddles. This statement is very reasonable. Chu He's outfit instantly showcased his temperament. The store manager on the side secretly glanced at Yi Zairu, who was staring blankly with her mouth open. Quietly leaning in Yi Zairu's ear, she said, "Your boyfriend is really a talented person. Miss, you are really lucky." Yi Zairu was stunned at the words. Immediately blushing, he said, "No, he's not my boyfriend." Watching this scene in the live broadcast room, my heart suddenly became unbalanced. Poor brother, a few children who have been raised for a few years were abducted and run away by the big brother like this. Don't talk too much, it's all tears. This bunch of shit and urine is feeding Xiaoro up. Is it easy for us? As the child grows older and has her own ideas, she just needs to be happy. Are all the people upstairs suffering from anxiety disorder after getting married to their daughters and losing money? Chu He followed suit and selected several leather shoes and belts. Let's settle the bill. Chu He gave his bank card directly to the store manager. The store manager smiled slightly. The total is 519,000 yuan. Chu He swiped his card again to settle the bill. Just as he was about to leave, the store manager stopped him. Take out a black and gold card from under the counter and hand it to Chu He. This is our Armani Black Gold membership card, which allows you to enjoy a 15% discount at any Armani specialty store. The store manager paused for a moment and continued, "As a member of our store, I would like to leave your contact information," the store manager said with a red face. Chu He felt very surprised. Is there such a statement? I haven't heard of it before. Chu He quietly glanced at Yi Zairu beside him. I saw her, as if she hadn't heard of it, counting ants with her head down on the side. Chu He was foolish, but Yi Zairu was not foolish. She couldn't tell that the store manager was just trying to strike up a conversation. Yi Zairu lifted her head and quietly glanced at Chu River. Coincidentally, I met the gaze cast by Chu River. Yi Zairu quickly turned around and pretended to chat with Danmu. Chu River suddenly realized upon seeing the situation. Pick up the pen next to you and leave your phone number. Same WeChat account. Chu He immediately pulled Yi Zairu out of the specialty store. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Gifts for you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Gifts for you. Chu He and Yi Zairu walked out of Armani's specialty store. The atmosphere suddenly felt a bit awkward. Let me put the things in the car first, it's not convenient to hold them like this, Chu He said with a smile. I'll go with you, Yi Zairu nodded. 2 minutes later. Parking lot. Chu He said to Yi Zairu, I still need a watch. Could you please accompany me to take a look at it in the end? Oh okay, Yi Zairu nodded shyly. 5 minutes later. The two of them arrived on the other side of the third floor. Jianchua specialty store. A middle-aged fat man and a heavily dressed woman were looking at their watches at the counter. I saw the woman constantly holding the middle-aged fat man's hand. Darling, did they take a liking to this watch? The middle-aged fat man gritted his teeth and said, Bye. At this moment, Chu He and Yi Zairu walked into the specialty store and happened to see this scene. Seeing Chu He and Yi Zairu, the heavily dressed woman's heart suddenly became unbalanced. Why should someone be a handsome man paired with a beautiful woman? I should have a chubby guy by my side, big and rough, and nothing but a little bit of money. The heavily make-up woman instinctively glanced at the middle-aged fat man, but he didn't notice. Chu He walked around the glass counter and felt like there was nothing he liked. He said to Yi Zairu, let's go and see the next one. The woman next to her suddenly sneered and thought to herself, it turned out to be a poor ghost. Immediately speak up and ask. Is the watch here affordable for you poor people, or is it better for me, my dear? If I want it, just buy it for me. He leaned his head against the middle-aged fat man's shoulder again. The middle-aged chubby man felt a bit embarrassed when he saw this, but he still gritted his head and said, "You're right, how can they afford it? The price of which watch here is not their monthly salary." Immediately, the middle-aged chubby man turned around and threw a card to the cashier, saying, "Swipe the card." Chu He watched this scene but became unhappy. Extend your hand to stop the cashier who is about to swipe the card. Buying things has always been the one with the highest price. Chu He turned his gaze to the two of them. The original price of this watch is 32,000 yuan, Chu He threw his bank card onto the counter. I'll pay 5,000 yuan. Once this statement is made, the middle-aged fat man and the heavily make-up woman's faces suddenly turned black. A woman with heavy makeup walked up and questioned Chu He, "What do you mean?" Chu He quickly took a few steps back and covered his nose, saying, "I don't have much interest. Isn't it normal for everyone to bid?" Immediately pointing to Yizairu, he said, "This is my friend, the anchor, and now there are 6 million people witnessing this bidding." A black line suddenly appeared on Yizairu's head. The water users in the live broadcast room are quite excited. In the face of a great enemy, how could I, Yi Liangchen, stand idly by and be the notary public as a local? Me too. I've never seen someone so arrogant before when I'm this big. Me too. When it comes to saying that Big Brother can't afford a few watches, he has to weigh his own worth. I, Zhou, was the first one to disagree. Me too. Upon hearing Chu River's words, the middle-aged fat man felt even more hesitant to ride a tiger. The woman beside her cast an expectant gaze at the middle-aged fat man as if nothing had happened. The middle-aged chubby man gritted his teeth and said, "I'll pay 7,000. Refreshing." Chu He shouted loudly, "I'll pay 10,000. The middle-aged fat man couldn't control the scene. Quickly speaking up, "I'll pay 12,000. Immediately took the nearby POS machine and swiped it a few times to pay the bill. The woman looked at Yizairu and Chu He with a proud expression and said, "Poor people will always be poor. Your annual salary is not as high as my dear's monthly salary." Chu He looked at the woman with a gaze of intellectual disability. "Take the bank karaoke from the counter and leave with Yizairu. Actually, I want to buy Jiangshi Denton. Leave only 2 people and this sentence in place." The middle-aged fat man stared at the woman with a murderous gaze. Because of this woman, he spent 4 times the price to buy this watch. The woman still looked disdainful and said, "How could such a poor person afford to buy Jiangshi Denton? How could a broadcaster and a poor boy get so much money?" The woman with heavy makeup pulled the fat man towards the door and said, "Darling, let's go take a look." "Hey, you haven't picked up your watch yet," the cashier shouted after their backs. Chu He and Yizairu came out of the store feeling refreshed. The live broadcast room was also filled with joy. It's good to follow my big brother, and this kind of fame and reputation comes naturally. Don't worry, this video is sure to become popular. I have already posted it on Xiaopa station. Big Brother's recent actions made that chubby guy spend 4 times the price on that watch, and I'll just follow him in the future. Me too. Is there no other word upstairs? Jiangshi Dandan Specialty Store. Chu He said directly to the cashier, "Help me choose a suitable men's watch, the price doesn't matter." Chu He feels that the most frequently said thing he has been lately is that the price doesn't matter. Perhaps this is the feeling of being extremely wealthy. The cashier heard this and took out a black dial with a silver strap from under the counter. "This is the best selling watch in our Jiangshi Dandan Cross the Sea series. Personally, I think it would be very suitable to be paired with you, sir." Chu He also fell in love with this watch at first sight. The design of the watch is not much different from his expectations. Just this one, Chu He roughly compared the watch on his wrist. Just about to take out my bank card. Yi Zairu walked over and handed him her phone. Help me carry it, I'll go to the restroom. After finishing speaking, Yi Zairu ran towards the door. Chu He looked at the live streaming device in his hand and didn't know what to say. Then a sudden inspiration came to mind. The statement interrupted the cashier who was packaging. Help me choose another women's watch, Chu He said with a smile. The cashier smiled and said, is it for the lady just now? Chu He nodded. The cashier immediately walked aside to continue picking. The live broadcast room was filled with noise. If you don't agree, I'll send you a watch. It's truly you. It seems that this dog woman is going to go for free today. Big brother, look, the cashier has picked it out. Chu River, chatting with the barrage, immediately looked at the cashier when he saw the last barrage. I happened to see the cashier walking over with a watch. Chu He glanced at this watch. The cashier slowly spoke up and said, this watch is the first piece from the Magic City. It was originally brought for display, but due to the time and the fact that you and that lady are lovers, sir, this watch has been sold to you. Chu He heard the cashier say that he and Yi Zairu are lovers, but he did not refute. Just staring at that watch. Not to mention the cashier, Chu He himself felt that the watch was quite suitable for Yi Zairu. The silver dial paired with a sky blue strap complements Yi Zairu's light-colored outfit today. Chu He immediately made a decision and said, that's all for this watch. How much does it cost with that one just now? Qinghui 850,000 yuan, thank you. Chu He readily paid the bill and then waited for Yi Zairu in place. Yi Zairu walked out of the toilet and as soon as she entered the store, she saw Chu He leaning against the glass counter and chatting with water friends. The cashier on the side saw her come in and poke the Chu River, and immediately went to the side to entertain other customers. Yi Zairu pressed down her doubts and walked quickly towards the Chu River. Finished buying. Yi Zairu reached out to take the selfie stick from Chu He's hand. Chu He casually placed the selfie stick on the counter and took out the watch from the box. Sleeping trough, is this abandoning us? Sleeping slot, can you young couple show off your love and ignore us? Sleeping trough, is this the rhythm of feeding me dog food? If the brothers in the live broadcast room hold on, neither Big Brother nor our row is innocent. Chu He placed his watch in his hand and said to Yi Zairu, this is a gift for you. Ah. This, Yi Zairu quickly waved her hand. It's too expensive for me to take. Although Yi Zairu is not familiar with watches, she is also aware that most of Jiang Shidandan's watches are valuable. As Yi Zairu was about to continue speaking, Chu He took her hand. I saw him slowly put the watch on Yi Zairu. It looks pretty, Chu He said to Yi Zairu. Yi Zairu quickly withdrew her hand and wanted to take off the watch. Seeing this, Chu He continued, you've been accompanying me for a long time today. I can't refuse to pay you anything, can I? Chu He turned his gaze to Yi Zairu. Yi Zairu quickly lowered her head and whispered, okay, thank you. No, thank you. Chu He smiled and said, let's go. Can you, let go of my hand first? Yi Zairu's voice became lower and lower, finally like the sound of a mosquito. Chu He lowered his head and took a glance. Good guy. I am still holding the girl's hand. Chu He quickly let go of his hand, his heart racing involuntarily, shyness accompanied by a hint of joy. Let's go. Chu He remained motionless on his face. Oh, oh. Yi Zairu picked up her selfie stick and walked out with Chu River. Dog women only think of us, why are you saying these things now? 99. 99 plus 1, 99 plus 2, two figures walked out of the corner at the entrance of the Jiangshidandan specialty store. It's the middle-aged fat man and the woman with heavy makeup. The woman with heavy makeup looked incredulous at this moment, as if she had never imagined that Chu and he could really afford Jiangshidandan. The middle-aged chubby man slapped the heavily dressed woman in the back and said, "You slut, you made me offend 2 big shots. Not only did you make me spend more than 9,000 yuan. The woman with heavy makeup was slapped by the middle-aged fat man and instantly confused. After a while, she regained her senses and scratched at the middle-aged fat man. "Fatty guy, do you dare to hit me? If it weren't for your money, I would have fought with you for those 3 minutes." Only 2 people were left in place, tearing and beating, and an unknowingly fierce onlooker. Parking lot. Chu He pressed the key to the car. As the engine starts, Lamborghini's scissor door opened in response. "It's getting late, let me take you home." Chu He shook the car key in his hand and said. Yi Ziru nodded slightly, afraid to look at Chu He. On the car, Yi Ziru and the water friends in the live broadcast were chatting about the Lamborghini of Chu River, but both of them tacitly did not talk. End of this chapter.